Meizu Pro 6 is the newest Meizu flagship phone, and after its launch left quite some fans a bit surprised in both positive and negative ways, one reason being the use of a Mediatek chipset instead of a Samsung Exynos one, another one being the battery. But if you're interested how the Pro 6 actually performs in real life, watch this review since we at CMM checked it out. Let's start with a quick look around the packaging. This one's got quite a premium look to it. Compared to the packaging of other Meizu devices, it's a nice black plastic box, the top can be removed and it feels quite heavy, probably to create a premium feel. Inside we find only the typical phone accessories though, including a USB Type-C cable, a power supply, documents and a SIM tray opener. Headphones are missing, which is sad since the Meizu Pro 6 boasts some hi-fi features. Let's move that stuff aside now to have a look at the phone itself, and honestly, in terms of the design, the Meizu Pro 6 is just amazing. It looks and feels quite a bit better than the Xiaomi Mi 5, which we already liked very much. Due to the fact the Meizu Pro 6 is entirely made from metal, it is a lot more sturdy than the Mi 5 and almost impossible to bend. Meizu even managed to get rid of the plastic antenna caps, replacing them with curved 3D printed antennas that are partially visible and embedded into the metal. The Meizu Pro 6 feels great in the hands, smooth and silky thanks to the curved edges and the 2.5D glass on the display. Meizu managed to create a perfect mixture of slight curves and perfect dimensions, and that especially applies to the thickness of the phone. Two outstanding characteristics of the Meizu Pro 6 are the headphone jack, which has been placed on the lower side next to the USB Type-C port. Also, the status LED in Meizu typical fashion can only light up in white. If those are pros or cons is obviously up to everyone's own. The home button has been improved compared to the Meizu MX5 and Pro 5. It doesn't make that cheap noise anymore and feels better when pressing it. As much as we love the design, we have been quite a bit disappointed by the display, which is a 5.2-inch Super AMOLED panel with Full HD resolution. The panel just isn't the best one. The sharpness is quite a bit lower compared to Full HD LCD panels due to the more visible pixels. Also, the viewing angles aren't too good. The most important flaw, however, is the brightness, which is much too low. It is very hard to see anything on the screen under sunlight. At least the colors of the panel are nice, they look quite realistic and not as intense as on most other AMOLED panels. The Digitizer of the Meizu Pro 6 works very nicely and supports up to 10 fingers at once, which are recognized fast and precisely. The glass is Gorilla Glass 4, which is very tough. The big highlight, however, is the support for 3D touch or force touch, which means the Digitizer can recognize how hard you press on the glass. By changing intensity of your touches, you can, for example, trigger submenus in app icons or open up a preview on the Gallery app. This works nice and is very useful indeed. The only downside is that this can only be used on Meizu apps. The API is open, but there's obviously no reason why any app on the Google Play Store should ever support Meizu's Empress technology. It's definitely time for Google to announce some official Android API for this. Anyone remembering the launch of the Meizu Pro 6 probably remembers how big the surprise was when the phone was announced to sport a Mediatek chipset instead of a Samsung Exynos one. The Pro 6 is based on the Mediatek Helio X25, a variant of the Helio X20 with higher frequencies on the CPU and GPU cores. Compared to the Helio X20, the performance is actually quite a bit higher, and the Pro 6 comes pretty close to the Snapdragon 820 found in the Xiaomi Mi 5. The GPU driver bug of the X20 series also has been resolved by now, which means games do not lag anymore and you can play nicely on the Meizu Pro 6. Next to the fast Helio X25 chipset, the Meizu Pro 6 boasts 4GB of LPDDR3 RAM as well as pretty speedy 32GB or 64GB of internal memory, which unfortunately cannot be expanded. The sensor side of things looks pretty nice, and we find some nice goodies like an e-compass, gyroscope, step counter and air pressure sensor. The fingerprint scanner embedded into the home button works reliably, but isn't the fastest one. What's more, you have to press the button to unlock the phone, just touching it is not enough. Since Meizu haven't released a new version of their Android distribution FlymeOS yet, the Meizu Pro 6 still runs Flyme 5, which is based on Android 6.0. Meizu fans get the software quality they are used to with the Pro 6. The OS is very well optimized and never suffers from lags or hangs. It just runs smooth and snappy and is a pleasure to use. Unfortunately, there is no international version of the Pro 6 yet, which means there is no multi-language support and you have to live with English only. There also is a bit of bloatware, but it can be uninstalled easily even without root access. Now let's go into the details, starting with the reception quality. The Meizu Pro 6 basically does perform like we are used to from other flagships, but there are a few negative points that have to be mentioned. First of all, due to the antenna design, the signal strength significantly drops if you hold the device in a way that covers the antennas. Anyway, you get used to that quite fast and automatically hold it in a way so that this won't happen. Another negative thing is that there, as usual for Meizu phones, is no LTE Band 20 support. GPS works extremely well on the Meizu Pro 6. We put the phone under a very intense test, navigating more than 800 kilometers with it, and we didn't encounter any issue whatsoever. The GPS test result is pretty good, as you can see here, with a great signal strength on all satellites. Let's move on to audio, and our expectations have been quite high since Meizu does advertise hi-fi specs. The Pro 6 comes with a Cirrus Logic DAC and a NXP Smart PA amplifier along Meizu mSound on the software side. The result? Awesome audio quality through headphones with hell of a maximum of volume that is more than enough to kill your ears quickly. Anyone after amazing audio quality on the go, the Meizu Pro 6 is for you. The internal speaker somehow disappointed us, however. It doesn't sound bad at all, but it tends to sound scratchy on higher volume levels. Remembering back to the Xiaomi Mi 5, this one's done better. Call quality is pretty good on the Meizu Pro 6, yet nothing outstanding. The noise cancelling works well, but unfortunately the Pro 6 features the same design flaw as some Xiaomi devices did before. The noise cancelling mic is placed right behind the phone receiver, which might result in your ear covering it. Next step, camera. Meizu again used the Sony IMX230 sensor on the Meizu Pro 6, which has been used on a couple of previous Meizu phones already. Until recently, this was an advantage for Meizu, since they've been able to further optimize the IMX230 each and every time, making it perform better and better. But well, the maximum optimization has been reached now, it seems, since the Meizu Pro 6 is behind some other flagships, which is a little disappointing considering that Meizu usually are one of the go-to addresses for the best phone cameras among Chinese manufacturers. Don't get us wrong, the Meizu Pro 6 camera is pretty good and can do amazing shots which look especially nice in terms of colors, making most other phones look old. But going into details, the Pro 6 is outperformed by the Xiaomi Mi 5 and similar phones. The low-light performance is worse, the pictures do not show as much details, and there also is no optical image stabilization. All that stuff could have been done better, and what's more, Ultra HD videos do not look as nice as well, and slow motion videos look awful. Something we love, however, is the Halo LED flash. Meizu is the very first phone maker to use a circular LED flash consisting of 10 LEDs with different colors. Doing so, they managed to achieve a higher brightness but also a more even light distribution. You notice that when doing macro or close-up shots with the flash. Other phones tend to show a bright spot when doing so, but the Pro 6 you get a perfect picture. There are downsides though. The missing OIS along the relatively long exposure time makes it very hard to get sharp pictures with the flash, except you use a tripod or something. The front camera on the Meizu Pro 6 features a 5 megapixel resolution and does pretty nice selfie-worthy shots at daylight and complicated lighting situations. Bye bye camera, hello battery. And battery is what might have been kinda shocking to you when the Pro 6 launched, since the cell only offers 2560 mAh of capacity, which compared to current standards seems like nothing for such a powerful phone. Well, it probably would be nothing with other chipsets, but don't forget that the Mediatek tree cluster technology is extremely energy efficient, and yes, it does manage to squeeze out quite some battery life out the tiny cell. On average, the battery life we got with the Meizu Pro 6 was 5 hours of screen on time. That translates to about 1 to 1.5 days of battery life, which is perfectly okay in our opinion. Charging also is amazingly fast thanks to mCharge 3.0. Charging the phone from 20% to 80% does only take 20 minutes, to 100% it takes around 50 minutes. Our conclusion: the Meizu Pro 6 might look a little pricey, but it's worth the money. But obviously that also depends on your use case. The Meizu Pro 6 isn't for everyone out there due to some flaws being present, like the not so amazing screen. Anyway, anyone into hi-fi on the go should have a closer look at it, and well, Meizu fanboys won't get around the Pro 6 anyway, right? So that's all from our side. If there are any questions left, please drop a comment. The shop link and more information can be found in the video description. If you like what we are doing at China Mobile Mac, please pay us a visit at www.chinamobilemac.de or at our English site at www.chinadevices.net, and follow us here on YouTube. Thanks for watching. Bye bye. Over and out.